All right, everyone, it is 1 p.m. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us today. So, in continuation of our Self Care Share Wednesday webinar, today's self care webinar is going to be highlighting nutrition as a form of self care. And being that we are in webinar mode, please, any comments or questions that you may have, put them in the chat and we will address them at the end of the presentation. So, in my personal opinion, if you aren't sure where to start in regard to self care, why not try nutrition, right? I mean, after all, we all have to eat, right? And food is fuel for our bodies. So, here to further elaborate on how nutrition can be an excellent and effective form of self care is Fort Bend County's very own Ericka Gibbs, who may be well known around town as a certified personal trainer, conducting boot camps and sharing motivational blogs and transforming not only people's physical bodies with physical fitness, but also transforming lives with nutrition as a nutritionist coach. So without further ado, Miss Ericka Gibbs, the spotlight is all yours.
Thank you, Christina, for that heartfelt introduction. Again, my name is Ericka Gibbs. I'm the owner of Ericka Gibbs Fitness, and I have to say I'm honored to be a part of this webinar series with my clients and with the surrounding communities. I just love to preach self-care, especially to women in the community, because we always tend to put ourselves last, which includes how we fuel our body, how we nurture our body. We tend to just, eat whatever most of the time. So with my clients, with the community, I like to preach self-care and utilizing nutrition the best way as a good way to start if you don't know where to start. So I am going to share my screen right here. Okay, so as I put on this first slide, self-care through nutrition. Good nutrition is good self-care. And as we all know, self-care looks different for everybody. We all look at it as, maybe a lot of us look at it as massages, or having drinks with girlfriends, or just taking some time alone. But nutrition is one of the most important aspects of self-care. Now, when I was preparing for this, I was talking to my best friend, and we contact each other at least once a week just to kind of make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, because we're both running businesses, we're both moms, we're wives, and so we tend to put ourselves on the back burner. So she sent me this quote: "I can be in my bed and still be busy, busy gathering strength." Even this morning, getting up, even though I'm laying in bed, I'm busy trying to get my mind right, trying to make sure that I'm going to be prepared for the day. And in doing that, the last thing on my list is, what am I going to eat? What is, I'm not going to look at nutrition. Let me go ahead and follow these other steps where nutrition should be actually at the top of the list. So we're going to discuss how and why nutrition and self-care go hand in hand. As I said before, self-care looks different for everyone. But one thing that we can all agree on is that self-care is about nourishment, mentally, physically, and emotionally. We have this negative right now in society where we look at food as an enemy. We look at it as punishment. If we treat ourselves, that we, think that we don't deserve to eat a healthy meal, or we don't deserve to kind of fuel our bodies. And we need to look at nutrition as the foundation for good health. Proper nutrition plays a vital role in our body's ability to thrive, and prioritizing is making an investment in yourself. And that's what is most important. We want to make sure that we're not to look at investing in ourselves as being selfish, but more of just taking care of ourselves because we deserve it. And as Christina said at the beginning, if you're looking for a place to start with self-care, consider consider starting by changing the way you look at food, the way you feel about food and nutrition, and look at it as more of a foundation, as a friend, instead of as an enemy. So, why nutrition is a part of mental and physical self care? A lot of people hear nutrition and they automatically think of nutrition as dieting or depriving yourself of the foods that you love. In fact, sticking to a more restrictive diet is actually the opposite of taking care of yourself. You don't want to develop a negative relationship with food, because that leads to eating disorders, that can lead to self-sabotaging yourself. And that's not what it's about. Good nutrition is nurturing your body. You want to provide your body with the raw materials it needs to stay healthy and to function properly every day, both mentally and physically. You you can enjoy food. You can have that piece of cake. You can have, a glass of wine without feeling guilty. You can enjoy it and it can provide you with satisfaction and comfort. And guess what? It's okay to do that. You don't have to look at food like, it's going to just sabotage your whole life. You should never try to have a negative relationship with food, and you shouldn't be made to feel guilty for enjoying yourself. Now, how to practice good nutrition and self-care. These are a lot of things that I have my clients do to try to get them out of the mindset that I need to eat a restrictive diet, I need to cut foods out, etc. So you want to take a multivitamin, you want to practice mindful eating, prioritize the balanced diet, eat when you're hungry. We'll come back to that. Limit sugar and refined carbs. I didn't say cut them out. I didn't say deprive yourself of them. I said to limit them, and that's very important. And you also want to nurture your gut. So when taking a multivitamin, it's easy. It's one of the easiest ways to practice self-care. Depending on the diet or the lifestyle in regards to your nutrition that you're following, nutrient deficiencies are more common than you think they are and can have a major impact on how you feel mentally, physically, and emotionally. So taking a multivitamin can ensure that you're getting what you need and you're properly, fueling your bodies. I follow a plant-based diet, and I did so to help my daughter, who is completely vegan, but she started following a vegan diet to help her with her mental health. So I decided to do the same thing. I'm sorry, I put the wrong thing. To kind of support her in her journey. So in following a plant-based diet, there's some things that I'm lacking or that I need to go ahead and supplement, such as taking B12s or getting in vitamin D, things like that, to help prevent, other things happening to my system. So by supplementing with multivitamins, or in addition iron pills or anything like that, I'm making sure that I'm getting everything I need to function properly. And also remember, multivitamins are not created equal. A lot of multivitamins are, filled with cheap fillers and synthetic ingredients. So you really want to make sure that you do your research before you just go out and buy a multivitamin. And you want to make sure that you're taking something that's actually nourishing your body and not hurting it. So practice mindful eating. I can tell you, before I started in my journey, I've been doing this probably about 13 years. I tried about every diet, every fad, every diet pill, everything out there. And what always seems to work for me is practicing mindful eating. You want to eat mindfully in an environment free of distractions. You want to be able to focus on the food that you're eating. You want to focus on the people that you're actually eating with, just so you can enjoy the experience more. You want to eat more slowly and mindfully, because doing so actually helps with the digestion. I know a lot of us probably heard chew your food at least 20, 30, bites or chews. And that's actually the case. And what tends to happen is the slower you eat, the slower your body will process the food, and you tend to get full without overeating. And so you don't eat as much. So that's always a good tip that you want to adhere to. And make your meals part of your self-care routine. Light a candle, listen to music. I know my husband and I will sometimes, if our kids aren't here, we'll sit at the table, we'll have music playing in the background, and we'll just interact with each other, because sometimes we're so busy, we don't have time to enjoy each other, and we'll use dinner time to make that happen. So prioritizing a balanced diet. And I say self-care is about balance, and good nutrition is a part of that equation. So instead of depriving yourself of certain foods, prioritize balance within your meals. Include a wide variety of foods. Um, so those things will help boost your mood, you gain energy, you balance your hormones, and you promote healthy sleeping habits. And eat healthy fats, complex carbs, lean proteins, and colorful fruits and vegetables. That is so important. I know there's a lot of people who don't like fruit, who don't like vegetables. So play around with it. Try different foods. If you're at home, I know a lot of people don't like asparagus or Brussels sprouts, but try it. Cook it a way you think you might. Roast them. Just don't be afraid to try different things to figure out what you might actually like. And remember, there's no specific superfoods that's going to give you everything that you need. So eat those healthy fats, again, complex carbs, your proteins, everything you need to nurture your mind and your body. And it's okay to have a scoop or two of ice cream. It's okay to have a glass of wine. Just make sure you balance it out with the leafy vegetables, with the lean proteins, with the healthy fats. It's okay. You don't need to deprive yourself to enjoy having a good balanced diet. So eating when you're hungry, and I said this is so important, because right now there's so much going on and there's so many diets that is so restrictive, and you only can eat at this time, and you have to try to get in all your calories in within a certain amount of time. Or what really ends up happening is, if you don't eat when you're hungry, you're going to end up binge eating or overeating later on. And remember, eating when you're hungry is an essential part of good nutrition and self-care. It keeps your blood sugar stable. It it also helps you, stay from getting tired. You're more focused, and your emotional stability is more balanced throughout the day. So even if you're preparing, your foods, it can be very meditative and very relaxing. So eating in a nourishing and nutritious meal is the ultimate form of self-care. Remember, recognize your hunger, honor yourself by respecting it, and listen to your body when it tells you it's time to eat. Remember, have you ever been hangry? I can tell you it's not a good feeling. Your attitude is horrible. You want to just go off on everybody because you're hungry, because you're not properly feeding your body. So remember, eat when you're hungry and stop when you're full. So this is something that I preach to my clients all the time. It's okay to have sugars. It's okay to have carbs. Just limit the types of sugars and the types of carbs that you're eating. Remember, negative health effects are associated with sugar and refined carbs. It's okay. You don't have to deprive yourself of the foods you love. just know that not only do they contribute to unhealthy weight gain, they may also be a key factor in depression, heart disease, and possibly even cancer. So limiting sugars and carbs is important for self-care, but enjoy in moderation. It's okay. You can have the cupcake, you can have a couple of slices of garlic bread, one or two slices, but just limit what the types you're eating and just focus on the healthier options. If you are craving sugar, it's okay to have, dark chocolate or some fruit. Try that and see if that satisfies your craving. If it doesn't, go ahead and have that piece of or slice of cake or a slice of cheesecake or whatever that you're wanting. But just know that this goes back to the balancing your diet. It's okay. Just know that maybe tomorrow you'll just eat more leafy greens, you eat your lean proteins and your complex carbs. I get a lot of questions about gut issues and nurturing your gut. A healthy gut um, sorry, promotes nutrient absorptions more efficiently. So you do want to make sure that you're getting what you're to help clean out your gut to allow your body to process and digest foods properly. Your gut is full of tiny microorganisms that play a major role in your mental and physical health, particularly your moods and your immune function. So when your gut is healthy, you can absorb the nutrients from your food more efficiently. Eat more prebiotic foods such as onions and garlic with while you're cooking. That's okay. Add them into your if you're sauteing vegetables, add them in there. That's going to help with your feed the healthy bacteria that's in your gut. And then include probiotics into your diet, such as kimchi, yogurt, and sauerkraut. Those introduce new healthy bacteria into your system. So it's okay to, start looking for alternatives that's going to help you fix your gut. So nutrition as self-care. And I touched on this a little bit at the beginning. When people value or talk about self-care or managing proper self-care, they say, it sounds great, but I don't have time to get a massage, or I don't have time to go work out, or I don't have time to meal prep. And that shouldn't be the case. You should always make time. I always look at those as excuses. There are two types of people who skip on nutrition as self-care, and those are people who take care of others. I am guilty of that. I have done it before. I take care of everybody else before I take care of me, and people who are focused on other obligations. And those people are the ones who work all the time. Their office, their work, everything else is a priority, and they're putting themselves on the back burner. So what I'm talking about is putting a little mindful energy into the things that are necessary for human beings to function. These are the things that we already do for other people. We just don't do them for ourselves. So when it comes to self-care, nutrition along with sleep is one of the most basic aspects of self-care that we really need to incorporate into our lives more often than not. So remember, just do a bit of planning and dedicating a clear intention of what you want to do so you can enjoy your nutrition. So some self-care tips to improve nutrition. So remember, as I said before, self-care is not selfish. You cannot serve from an empty vessel. It all comes back to taking care of ourselves, not necessarily putting ourselves first, but not forgetting about ourselves. And when I'm saying an empty vessel, we have to pour in the nutrition, we have to pour in certain things to make sure that we're functioning properly like we should. So some of the self-care tips that I like to share is get plenty of sleep. Without sufficient sleep, we tend to consume larger portions of food, which in turn can lead to weight gain. We also produce more hormones that will stimulate our appetite. You, you'll want to crave more energy dense, high caloric foods, high carbs, high fat foods. We also tend to snack late at night when you don't get enough sleep. We lack impulse control. We don't know how to say no. Although it's okay to say yes every once in a while, but we don't know how to say no because our brains make us more impulsive when we're lacking sleep. Often, also, when you lack sleep, we resist weight loss more because we're producing the stress hormone cortisol more often than not. And that makes it even more harder to lose weight. So, a few things that you can do to improve sleep, um, how sleep can actually improve your diet. The sleep feeds your brain. Prioritizing sleep supports your physical health by giving your body a chance to refresh and slow down. Also, getting enough sleep impacts our hormones and brain signals. This impacts food choices because when we're tired, our brains make more impulsive choices and crave those sugary foods. Also, sleep supports mental health by improving mood and decreasing irritability. Remember, better sleep rested helps us more energized, helps us feel more energized to exercise, which makes us feel good. We'll start releasing endorphins and we'll just be happier because we got sleep and we're able to function properly throughout the day. Next is positive self-talk. I made a post before about this. If you talked to your best friend the way you talk to yourself, would you guys still be friends? Honestly, if you said all the negative things that you say to yourself to somebody else, would that person still be in your life? And the answer is no. How you speak to yourself, how critical, how unsupportive you are to yourself can have an impact on your self-care, how you feel about yourself, which can also cause you to put yourself in stressful situations, to make you depressed, which can cause you to eat the wrong foods, which would cause you to have more bad nutrition than good nutrition. So positive self-talk decreases stress and burnout. So a positive outlook can lead to lower rates of depression and distress and better psychological and physical well-being. So talk to yourself nicely. By doing so, you're boosting self-compassion. And that's one thing that goes hand in hand with self-care. So talk positive to yourself. Give yourself that self-compassion. Don't feel bad if you eat something that's not on your meal plan or that's not on your daily routine. That's okay. Like I said before, treat yourself, but then get right back on it the next day. It's okay. Next is eating well. Yes, eating well is a form of self-care. If we are too busy to think about or even plan our food, it's hard to care for ourselves by making good choices. So eating healthy doesn't happen by accident. When we're not prioritizing our nutrition, we make choices out of default or convenience. So to improve self-care in regards to nutrition, choose foods that nourish the body and help you feel good. Think of the foods you put on your plate as a reflection of how you feel about yourself. Do you deserve wholesome, nutritious food? Of course you do, but you also deserve to treat yourself every once in a while. Remember, it's all about balance. So actions to help promote eating well, prioritize 3 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then avoid stretching out the time between each meal. 4 to 6 hours is excessive. And when you stretch out the time between meals, you do tend to increase your cravings for sugars, sugary foods, high carb foods, high fat foods, which can ultimately lead to low energy. Also, pack wholesome lunches and balanced snacks. Choose simple things like an apple with peanut butter, or maybe some cheese crackers, or some nuts with some craisins or something. So if you find that your time between your main meals is going to be too excessive, you have something in the middle that can help tide you over until that next meal. This is one of the hardest things. I have a lot of clients that just have a hard time doing, and it's staying hydrated. Drinking water is one of the hardest things for some people. They don't like the taste or for whatever reason, but understand our body's made up of 60% of water. So we need water for our cells and body to function properly. So do you know that fatigue is an early sign of dehydration? A lot of times you think you're hungry and you may actually just be dehydrated. So caring for yourself also means keeping yourself well hydrated throughout the day. I also like to have my clients, if you do have problems drinking water, um, it's okay. Add lemon, add some, make your own, add some fruit, add some cucumber, add some strawberries, add something to it, play around with it so you can find a flavor that will get you to drink your water. Remember, keeping yourself hydrated keeps your body efficiently burning calories. You can quench your thirst first. As I said before, you may be dehydrated versus actually being bored and you're not really hungry. So you always want to check that first. Well hydrated people also have a lower perceived fatigue, and often their muscles feel less sore the next day after exercise. Water is also very important with lubricating your joints. Um, Also, water helps with the digestive system. It helps with the removal of waste. So when you're well hydrated, the water inside and outside the cells of contracting muscles provide adequate nutrients and removes waste efficiently so you perform better. Okay, make time for fun. We as adults, we forget to have fun. And I am guilty of this. I can be very serious, and my husband is the jokester, so he's the one who kind of balances me out and makes me have fun, make time for fun. And I have to realize, and we all should, life is just too short. So why not prioritize laughter? We will never look back at our life and wish we were more serious. We want to, make sure we have fun and prioritizing our inherent desire for joy. So, how fun improves your diet? Well, if you feel happier, you can make eating more fun instead of stressful. If you're meal prepping, you can, do it with your spouse or significant other, make it a family affair, and everybody comes up with their meals and you do it together, you prepare them together, and you just make it a fun event. Also, when having fun, we produce less stress hormones, which boosts productivity to do things like actual meal planning, meal prepping, or simply to just relax and unwind because you deserve it. And this is the last thing is unplug. I can tell you guys, my husband makes me unplug everything at 10 p.m. because I work from my phone. I'm always on the computer if I'm not training, and 10 o'clock is the cutoff. He makes me turn it off just because I need to, unwind. I need to, just shut down. And by unplugging, it allows you to just focus on the here and now, and you don't have to worry about getting or feeling bad or looking at somebody saying, oh, I wish I can meal prep like them, or I wish I look like them. And then depression sets in. What happens with depression or anxiety? We tend to reach for the unhealthy foods. So by unplugging, stepping away from your cell phone, you can improve your overall self-care. So let's see. Now, Bottom line is, it's time to start thinking of food and nutrition as nourishment and fuel for your body. Remember, it's all about finding the balance. So don't beat yourself up for having a slice of cake every now and then or a glass of wine. Just be sure you're eating a variety of healthy foods just to balance it all out. Self care is key to mental, physical, and emotional wellness. So, taking more time for yourself will pay off exponentially. Even when your cup is metaphorically full, and only then will you be able to fill up others. So, you cannot give what you don't already have. Additionally, choosing to improve your nutrition is a form of self care. Remember that. Above all, be sure to prioritize getting plenty of sleep, practicing positive self talk, eating well, getting active, staying hydrated, making time for fun, and unplugging. Now, take your time and set yourself up. This is important because if self care is about protecting your well being, then taking time to make sure you're properly nourished and fueled throughout the day goes right along with that. Whether that starts with meal planning, meal prepping, grocery shopping, cooking, taking time to eat in peace, it all lends itself to better energy, a better mood, less stress, and better health. So, to make sure that you're set up for success, I recommend stocking your kitchen with the essentials, the staples. So, it's easier to make a nourishing meal even when you're tired, which most of us are. I'm talking about brown rice, oats, whole grains, tuna, no sodium, canned vegetables, things like that, frozen fruits, frozen vegetables, frozen lean proteins. Again, this does wonders when it comes to stress reduction and making sure you stay on track with your goals for good. So, one of the biggest issues that I see when I'm talking to clients or I'm talking to people online is they love to say, eating healthy is so expensive. And my thing is, well, how much do you spend on Starbucks in a day? Or how much do you spend on doing this? Or how much do you spend on doing that? Fueling your body or trying to provide your body with good nutrition doesn't have to be expensive. If you take the time to plan and follow through with it, you can get it done. Now, useful tips to help you eat healthy. Like I said, plan your meals on Sundays or even Saturday. Plan out your meals for the week. Get with your family or get with your significant other and just plan your meals for the week. See what you need and create a grocery list. And when you go to the store, only get what's on your list. Don't get anything extra because that's when it starts to become costly. Cook at home. What I think a lot of people misconstrue as it being expensive to be healthy is that you have to go out to eat healthy. You have to go to these different spots or you have to go to high-end grocery stores or whatever. No, you can cook at home. Cook in bulk, use your leftovers. I'll make rice and beans and, large things of vegetables and just kind of have them waiting. And I'll make meals off those bulk items that I've cooked. And we'll have leftovers for a few days, depending on the meal, if it's dinner or breakfast. Do not shop when you're hungry. I used to go to the gym, be there for a couple of hours, and go straight to the grocery store and got everything but what I was supposed to get because I was hungry. I was getting snack foods. I was getting sugary drinks. I was getting, things that I just didn't need because I was hungry. Now I'll eat. My husband and I will eat breakfast and then we'll go to the grocery store early. We already have our list and we get what's on there and we don't get anything extra because we're not buying groceries with our eyes or our stomach. We're using our mind to actually buy our groceries. Buy whole foods and buy generic. And when I say whole foods, of course, I'm talking about your rice, your beans, your lean proteins, things like that. And understand you don't have to spend a lot of money on name brand items. You can get the store brand, you can get the generic brands. If you can't get fresh fruits and vegetables, get frozen. You can get frozen fruits and vegetables. You can get canned vegetables, get the no sodium kind. When you're when you're about to use them, rinse them out. So you get rid of all the juices, you get rid of all the extra sodium that might be in there that they say is not in there. There's ways to do it, and stick with generic brands. It's okay. Not everybody can get organic. Not everybody can get name brands. So get what you can afford, so you can start trying to develop healthier habits. Stock up on your favorite and staple items. Like I said, that's your rice, your beans, your legumes, your your meats, your vegetables. Stock up on stuff that you can deep freeze, that you can that can have a shelf life in your pantry. Those are the things you want to stock up on, so you're not constantly going back and forth to the grocery store. Buy less expensive meats. And when I say that, I am talking about like your ground meat, your packages of chicken legs or chicken thighs or sausages. Those are okay. You don't have to buy your filet mignons. You don't have to buy, it's been so long since I bought meat, but pork steaks or ribs or whatever. If you want to, that's fine. But if you can't afford it, it's okay to get the less expensive meats. Replace meats with other sources of protein. Like I said, I am plant-based. My daughter and my husband are also plant-based. So I'll get tofu, I'll get seitan, I'll get chickpeas. I try to find other things to replace the actual animal protein, and I get proteins from other sources. So try those. You may be surprised of how inexpensive and how just effective those sources of proteins actually are. Look for in-season produce. Again, buy frozen fruits and vegetables. Buy in bulk. If you have a Sam's card or a Costco or whatever, buy in bulk. Stuff that won't go bad if it sits in your pantry, or if you put it in the freezer. Buy in bulk. It saves you money in the long run. If you're able to, grow your own produce, depending on what season it is. Depends on what produce that you're able to grow. If you're able to do it, do it. Most importantly, you want to meal prep and pack your lunch. Like I said, I meal prep on Sunday, and I meal prep meals for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday, I cook my meals for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And Sunday is leftovers, free for all. It could be a cheat day or a day that I just treat myself, and then I do it again for the following week. That's a good regimen to start with, just so you're not overwhelming yourself. Give yourself a few days where you're actually going to meal prep, and you're going to eat those meals for those few days, just to try it out, to see if that's something that you can do. And you really will be surprised how easy it is and how effective it is. So also, again, foods that will help you eat healthy on a budget: beans, lentils, eggs, sweet potatoes, whole chickens are good. Hummus, if you can make your own, that's even better. Whole wheat or multi-grain pastas, frozen vegetables, cottage cheese, and non-fat yogurts. I do non-dairy yogurts. It doesn't give you as much protein as non-fat yogurt, but it does what it needs to do. Oats, spinach, brown rice, like I said, tofu, seitan, these are all plant-based proteins that you can have. Nut butters, peanut butter, almond butter, soy butter, cashew butter. There's so many different butters out there. But if you get them, and they don't have to be name brand, that's a good staple for you to have also. And 100% whole wheat bread. So eating healthy on a budget, bottom line, it does not have to break the bank. If you plan, and make smart choices when you're at the grocery store, you can really save a lot of money. And one thing I like to tell my clients is, try to shop the perimeter of the grocery store. Stay out of the middle unless you absolutely have to, because all the nutrient dense food is on the outside. You have your produce, you have your proteins, you have your dairy, your frozens, all on the outside normally. Inside is where you have your sugary drinks, your sugary cereals, uh, things, a lot of snack food. So stay on the outside if possible. Go into the middle if you just have to. And also prepare healthy meals at home. Try to do that. At least give yourself, hey, I'm going to eat at home, prepare these meals at least 3 nights a week, and then just kind of go from there and increase it and see how it actually helps your nutrition, which will help your mood, which will help everything else kind of just roll along, in a positive way. It is possible to eat healthy while sticking to a budget. It just takes a little extra planning, some creative cooking, and time to stock your pantry with staples. I will never say it's easy. It will get easy, but you just have to be willing to put in the work. And that's what I feel like a lot of people, we're a society right now where everybody wants instant gratification. We want everything to be done for us now, but just put in a little work and you will be surprised how you can just change your mindset and change the way you look and your relationship with food. Also, like I said, it's okay if you have a bad meal, or say one day you have one good meal. Hey, guess what? If yesterday you didn't have any good meals, any healthy, nutritious meals, and today you had one healthy, nutritious meal, you are already one day better than you were yesterday. So don't punish yourself. Don't make yourself feel bad. Don't feel guilty for having one healthy meal and the rest of your meals are not as healthy. The next day, guess what? It's a brand new day. You start over. You have your one healthy meal. Guess what? You may have two healthy meals and then two not so healthy meals, but you're better than you were the day before. So always, you have no one to compete against but yourself. You don't have to be better than anybody else but yourself. Be better than you were yesterday. And that goes with how you look at yourself, how you feel your body, how you treat yourself. Self-care is so important, and it's just one of the main things that we just need to focus on, especially in today's society where there's so many fake images and there's so many questionable things out there that make us feel bad about ourselves. When we can control this one thing, it can change our whole aspect, the way we look at everything in life. So with that, I can take any questions and answers that if anybody would have any for me.
Erica, yes, I do see there was a question. What is the difference between a plant-based diet and being a vegetarian?
Okay, so a vegetarian, you're still eating eggs. A lot of times a vegetarian is still eating eggs. They may incorporate some type of, eat fish, which that's more of a pescatarian diet, but they kind of lump that all together. Where a plant-based diet is, I don't like to say vegan, because vegan can be taken as so hardcore. So I say plant-based diets. I don't take in any animal protein at all. I don't do dairy, cheese, no meat, no eggs, no fish, nothing like that. So with a vegetarian, you're going to have some dairy. A lot of vegetarians still incorporate dairy products and egg.
Okay.
So that's the difference.
Okay. Also, should you count carbs, calories, sugar, or fat?
I think that will depend on the individual. It would really depend on the individual, because I go with a certain amount of calories because I work out. I do very intense workouts. So I need to increase the amount of calories I intake. to make sure I can sustain my workout and still sustain my energy throughout the day. Now, some people count macros, they'll count carbs, they'll count their sugars. That's definitely up to the individual, and what their particular goals are. I also like to do, like I said, intuitive eating, or, where you're just kind of, you eat when you're hungry, you eat when you want, you eat the foods that you kind of want to without feeling guilty, without having to restrict yourself to calorie counting, to macro counting, because that can also lead into a not so good direction. So I really say it depends on the client, on the goals that they have. If they're adamant about cutting carbs, they're going to count carbs. If they're adamant about cutting sugars, they're going to cut sugars and add in fat. So it just depends on the individual.
Okay. All right. I don't see any other questions other than, oh, I do. Online. Do you know if it is easier to burn off regular sugar as opposed to the sugar in processed food? So natural sugar versus
natural sugar does metabolize faster than processed sugar. And just know that if you're doing diet drinks or anything that has a sugar alternative, your body doesn't metabolize it. So it's better to just stick with the natural sugars that are in fruits, because your body will metabolize that faster than the processed sugar. The processed sugar will actually start to turn into fat.
Right. Okay. So. Okay, I think the last question would be, if anyone has any other questions for you, maybe at a later time, or is interested in any of the services that you offer, how are they able to get a hold of you?
Yes. So, I don't think I can share my screen anymore. Okay, yeah, here you go. Well, this is my website, erickagibbsfitness.com, and that is my business phone number. I can also be found on Instagram as Ericka Gibbs Fitness, and on Facebook as Ericka Gibbs Fitness. So I can be reached. If you go through my website, I do have email set up through my website, so you can feel free to contact me through my website or through one of my social media platforms.
All right. Well, thank you so very, very much, Ericka, for your time and all of this very helpful and amazing information. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this, and I hope it wasn't too overwhelming or too much information, but
no, I think it was great. It was really, really good. Thank you so much. And if there are no other questions, this will conclude our Self-Care Share Wednesday webinar.
All right. Thank you so much.
Some of our attendees are telling you thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. We'll see y'all next time.